Welcome to the last ilecture for this semester. I can see you smiling already. In this ilecture, we'll discuss the exam format. I'll give you some tips that I hope will be useful. But before that, can I ask you if you have your textbook or pen and paper next to you? If you don't, please pause this ilecture so you can grab your textbook. By the way, in case you don't know, there are summaries of each chapter in Blackboard. You know, I've heard comments from students in the past that they found these chapter summaries very useful in their exam preparation. You should also have a pen and paper next to you so that you can make some notes as we discuss the exam structure. Please pause this ilecture now so you can get your pen or pencil and some paper. Welcome back. As you can see from the slide, you've got 2 hours to complete the exam. You are given 10 minutes at the start, yes, 10 minutes before the official start of the exam to read the exam questions. Please use your 10 minutes wisely. What can you do in these 10 minutes before the official start of the exam? Well, you can make some notes. But you cannot start writing down the answers to the exam questions in these 10 minutes. What notes can you make? Well, you can write down your thoughts, your plans, your ideas, or your examples of what you're going to use. You can write your notes in the margins or on the reverse of the examination paper. Remember one of Ayol's 4 functions, planning? Well, you may want to plan which question you're going to start with. There are 4 short essay questions in the exam that you need to complete. You may want to start with the question that you're most familiar with, the most confident in answering well. And this may not be question 1, but this may be question number 3, for example. Well, you can start by answering question 3 if you wish. There's no rule that says, hey, you must start with question number 1, then complete question number 2, question number 3, 4, and so on. You can start with question number 3, move on to question number 4, and then jump over to question number 1, and then question number 2 if you wish. One thing you must do is to complete all 4 questions in the exam. That's if you want to score the maximum marks in the exam. I'm sure you know that you will lose marks if you don't answer the question. So please guys, please answer all 4 short essay questions from the 6. Let's talk about the questions in the exam. Well, each question is worth 10 marks. Multiply 10 by 4 and you get 40. And if you look at the unit outline, you'll see that the exam is worth 40% of the total assessment in this unit. So, each exam question carries an equal mark. There's no one question that has more marks. You don't want to spend an hour on one question and then realize that you have to answer the next 3 questions in the next hour or 60 minutes. If you do this, it's likely that you'll do a poor job in answering 3 questions in 60 minutes. Remember, you don't get more than the maximum marks for the one question just because you spent most of your time or 1 hour answering that question. So please, plan your time wisely, as each question is worth the same amount of marks. If I were you, I'll spend about 27 to 28 minutes answering each question. Let's say you spend 27 minutes answering each question. Multiply 27 by 4 and you get 108. So, you would have spent 108 minutes so far on the exam. Because the exam lasts 120 minutes, you'll have about 12 minutes extra. What can you do in 12 minutes? A lot. You can go through the whole exam paper again. Read what you've written. Look at your definitions, your examples. See what you can improve on your introduction, body, conclusion, so that it makes sense to the examiner. You may ask, do the questions need to be answered in essay style? Well, unless the question says otherwise, the answer is yes. So, please have some sort of introduction, have a body, and have some sort of conclusion. It's a good technique to provide a definition whether you're asked to do so or not, because at least it gives the examiner something to start with by understanding your understanding of the theory or concept or terms that you're talking about. Now, many of you defined your terms, theories and concepts when you wrote your individual essay. So, well done, you guys are on the right track. Some exam questions will ask you to provide examples. So, please provide examples. Please remember, you must provide examples if the question asks you to do so. Now, if you don't provide an example, you'll immediately lose 50% of the possible marks, because being asked to provide examples is part of the question. So if the question says, please use examples to illustrate your answer, please use examples to assist in your discussion, you must use examples. They don't have to be real-life examples, but they need to be examples that illustrate the theory or concept that you're talking about. Examples can come from your textbook, your workshops, newspapers, magazines, or internet news portals like theaustralian.com or bloomberg.com. Please answer the question that is asked. Please remember this. It doesn't matter how well you write something. If you haven't answered the question, you can't get any marks for it. So please make sure you do what you're asked to do. So for example, if the instruction is to discuss the West Coast Eagles and you write a fantastic answer, the best possible answer about the Fremantle Dockers, unfortunately, you will not get any marks. So please remember, you must answer the question. Make sure you do what you're asked to do. Look out for keywords like discuss or explain or compare and contrast. Understand the keywords. Underline the keywords. If the question asks you to compare and contrast, well, you should compare and contrast this and that. If the question asks you to list examples, then you should list examples. If you're being asked to describe something, well, describe it. If you're being asked to discuss something, well, discuss it. Here are some tips for the exam. Well, for a start, make sure you breathe. That's a really, really important thing to do. Make sure you use your reading time to read the questions and think about the key words. Think about what you're going to start with. How are you going to answer the question? What's going to be in your introduction? What's going to be in your body? What's going to be in your conclusion? What examples are you going to use? Please bring your student card, your student ID card, several pens, pencils, and an eraser to the exam. Now, I'll be visiting some exam venues, so I'll be there with you guys at the start of the exam to assist you with your concerns. For example, where's the toilet? Where's the clock? Is the time on the clock accurate? I'll be happy to assist you with such concerns. But sorry, I cannot explain or answer any exam-related questions. When I visit, I hope to see you guys making notes during the 10 minutes reading time. I do not want to see you guys staring into space. and waiting for the 10 minutes to pass, because 10 minutes is a very long time if you're not productive. You can do so many things in 10 minutes. Take the time to make notes. Take the time to plan your essay. Take the time to note down all the things you could write about on that particular topic that you've chosen. And then move the order around so that they fit together in a really good or strong argument or discussion about what you've been asked to do. As I said before, allocate about 27 minutes to answer each question. Don't spend too much time on one question. Be precise. Don't provide information that is not relevant to the question. So if the question asks you to list something, list it. If the question asks you to discuss something, discuss it. Now, I think defining concepts is a very, very good thing to do, even if you're not asked to do it. Defining concepts demonstrates your immediate understanding, and essentially that is what your examiners want to see, want to know. Do you understand this topic or concept or theory? If the question asks for your opinion, whether you agree or disagree, you must actually say whether you agree or disagree. Please don't write your short essay and expect the examiner to assume your point of view. You must actually state it clearly. Assume your examiner knows nothing. Assume you have to tell them everything and be very clear about telling them. So if the question asks you to agree or disagree, say, I do not agree, and this is why, blah blah blah. If the question asks you to provide an example, use the words for example, for instance. So it is really clear that this is your example. Be really, really obvious about what you're doing. Now, if you've been to all the workshops and listened to all the iLectures, you won't find this exam difficult. I'll promise you that. Remember what I said in the first iLecture? From our research last year, we discovered that many students who failed this unit did not attend their workshops. They did not listen to their iLectures. So, if you have attended the workshops and participated in the workshop activities, I can promise you, you won't have any trouble in the exam. Don't stress out, please. There are no tricks in the exam. If you look at some of the practice exam papers that are on Blackboard, you'll see that the questions are really fairly straightforward. If the question seems easy, well then it probably is for you. This is because you've prepared well, you've studied, and you understand the topic, theory, or concept. Please don't assume that because the question seems easy, there must be a trick to it. I can tell you, no, I can guarantee that there are no tricks in this exam. So please don't look for something that is not there. Don't make it more complex than it is. Just answer the question that is being asked and you'll do well. You'll pass the exam. I'll now go through some common questions that I'm usually asked. One question I'm usually asked is, can I draw a model or diagram to explain my answer? The answer is yes, you can draw models or diagrams to explain your answer. Please note that you'll need to refer and explain the models or diagrams in your essay answers. If you're running out of time, you can draw a model to show what you know about that topic. At least you'll get some marks. Another question I'm commonly asked is, how long should my short essay answer be? The answer is, it depends. I need to see the size of your handwriting to answer this question. I think you'll agree with me if I said that some people have small handwriting, while others have large handwriting. Some people skip a line in writing their answer, while others don't skip a line. Maybe they want to save some paper. So I can't give you a correct answer. Maybe you need 3 or 4 pages. The best answer I can give you is this. Your answer should be as long as it needs to be for you to feel confident, to feel good
that you've answered the question within the time frame you've got. Another question is, do I need to memorize the definition word for word according to my textbook? The answer is no. We are not here to test if you can recite word for word the definition as outlined in your textbook. We are here to test your understanding of knowledge. So please feel free to write the definition of concepts in your own words. If you understand the theory, concept or topic well, this should not be a problem for you. Another commonly asked question is, can I write in a first-person narrative? Can I use the word I? The answer is yes, you can use the word I when you're writing your answer. You can say, I agree, I disagree. We want to hear your voice, your analysis. So please feel free to write in a first-person narrative. Another question I'm usually asked is, will I lose marks for poor spelling or grammar? My answer is this. This is not an English test. You're not getting marked on your grammar or spelling. What you're getting marked on is whether or not you can demonstrate your understanding of the topic, theory or concept, and this may include the quality of your definition, examples, and your argument. So plan and structure your answer well, and please write legibly. Please don't write like a doctor. Alright, you've seen a doctor's handwriting? Well, if you have more questions that I've not covered, please attend your workshops and ask your tutors for assistance. Tutors are there to ensure you have an enjoyable learning experience. I'll now go through the rest of the slides that touch on the various topics we have covered this whole semester. I'm not going to discuss in detail each slide. I'll just tell you what's important, what you need to know. You can read the textbook, the chapter summaries, or listen to the various iLectures again if you wish to find out more details about a particular topic, theory, or concept. Don't worry, there's nothing new in this revision iLecture. We've covered all this material before. By the way, all the iLectures starting from module number 1, module number 2, module number 3, 4, 5, and so on, up to last week, they are still on Blackboard. And there's no rule that states, hey, you cannot listen to them again and again and again. Now, there are few things in life that are certain, and this is one of them. I can guarantee, I can put it in writing, that the exam questions are based on the theories, concepts, or topics in the following slides. Let's start with Henri Fayol. I'm sure you know who Fayol is by now. In case you don't know, Fayol is the person who gave us the 4 functions of management, which is planning, organizing, leading, and controlling, or POLC in short. Understanding what planning, organizing, leading, and controlling is all about is certainly one thing you really need to understand. Moving on to the concept of efficiency and effectiveness. This is important as organizational performance is related to efficiency and effectiveness. Simply put, a firm's performance is a measure of how efficient and effective managers use organizational resources to achieve goals. Efficiency refers to the amount of resources, like raw material or money, used to achieve a goal. Meanwhile, effectiveness is the degree to which the organization achieves a stated objective or goal. You need to understand the difference between efficiency and effectiveness and why it is important to management. Let's move on. Let's talk about the different roles managers play. Another researcher you need to know is Henry Mintzberg, this good-looking bloke down here. He studied managers at their workplaces, and according to Mintzberg, managers have 10 roles. According to Mintzberg, managers can play the roles of an entrepreneur, disturbance handler, resource allocator, and negotiator. Managers can also play different roles to monitor, disseminate information, in addition to spokesperson roles. Other roles managers play include a figurehead, leader, and liaison roles. We covered this topic in Module 1, and if you remember, Alan Joyce, the CEO of Qantas, played different roles when he was negotiating with the unions in their industrial relations dispute. In Module 2, we discussed the organizational environment. No, I'm not talking about the green environment, I'm talking about the organizational environment. As you know, the organizational environment consists of a set of forces and conditions that operate beyond an organization's boundaries but affect a manager's ability to acquire and utilize resources. We can see from this slide that the organizational environment can be conceptualized as having two layers. The task environment layer is closer to the organization and includes the sectors that conduct day-to-day transactions with the organization and directly influence basic organizational operations and performance. The general environment is the outer layer that is widely dispersed and affects organizations indirectly. Although it does not directly change daily operations, the general environment will eventually influence all organizations. You need to understand what makes up the task and general environment. Moving on, in Module 3, we discussed the need for organizational change. One organization that did not change to keep up with technological changes, as you know, is Kodak. Do you remember what happened? Well, it paid the ultimate price. It went bankrupt, lost all its cash. Let's move on. Now, researchers have proposed a model that managers can follow to achieve organizational change. As we can see from the slide, there are 4 steps in the organizational change process. We've also discussed resistance to change. As you know, some people, some employees resist change. This could be because of the fear of a loss of control or power. Doing things in the same routine or predictable manner is comfortable. And asking employees to change the way they operate or think is asking them to move outside their comfort zone. And people usually don't like to move outside their comfort zone. So how do you overcome these challenges? Well, resistance to change can be overcome by improving communication so that all organizational members are aware of the need for change. Empowering employees and inviting them to participate in the planning for change can help manage resistance. Moving on, in Module 4 we discuss ethics and how managers can respond to ethical dilemmas. Now, in case you can't remember, managers often face ethical dilemmas where their decision will help one group of stakeholders and hinder or hurt another. Managers can follow 4 rules that have been developed to assist them in making their decisions. They are the utilitarian, moral rights, justice, and practical rules. Each rule is unique. You need to understand the different aspects of each rule. Moving on, we also discussed the importance of corporate social responsibility in Module 4. You need to understand what CSR stands for, and I can tell you it's not customer service representative. As you can see from the slide, there are 4 approaches to CSR. You have the obstructionist, defensive, accommodative, and proactive approach. Each approach is unique, is special, and you need to understand each approach. You should understand why an organization would choose one approach over another. We covered leadership in module number 5. And as you now know, there are differences between a leader and a manager. For example, leaders do the right thing, while managers do things right. Leaders also have different sources of power. For example, we spoke about expert, referent, and information power that leaders may possess. You need to understand the different sources of power. Where do they come from? Do they come from the organization or from the person? We also learnt about transformational, charismatic, and transactional leaders. You should be able to describe and understand the differences in each category. For example, what makes a person a charismatic leader? What makes a person a transactional leader? We also discussed motivation in Module 5. As you know, motivation plays an important role in management. According to needs theories, managers can motivate their employees by determining what needs people are trying to satisfy. We also spoke about Maslow's hierarchy of needs theories that says everyone, you and I included, have 5 different kinds of needs. For example, physiological needs, safety needs, belongingness needs, esteem needs, self-actualization needs. All of us, you and I included, have these needs. We also discussed Adelphi's ERG theory. We also learned about McClellan's needs theory that says that people have a need for achievement, affiliation, and power. We also discussed Hertzberg's two-factor theory that says people or employees have motivator and hygiene needs. You need to understand the logic of each theory. You need to understand how managers can use these theories to motivate employees. Moving on, we learnt about the importance of planning in Module 7. We saw how planning impacts an organization's strategy and structure. We learned that managers can use a SWOT analysis as a technique to develop strategy. You should understand the different aspects of a SWOT analysis. In case you can't remember what SWOT stands for, it stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. If you look at the slide, you'll see that strengths and weaknesses come from the organization or internally, while opportunities and threats come from the environment or externally. We also learned about Michael Porter's 5 forces model. Porter identified 5 factors that are major threats to organizations because they affect how much profit organizations competing in the same industry can expect to make. It is important to understand each factor, each of the 5 forces, and how each factor impacts a firm's ability to generate profits. Moving on, we covered organizational control in Module 8. As you know, control is one of Fayol's 4 functions. We learnt about the 3 control systems that managers can adopt to provide them with feedback to see if their organization's strategy and structure are working efficiently and effectively. The first is the feed-forward control system that aims to anticipate problems before they arise. The second is the concurrent control system that gives managers immediate feedback on how efficiently inputs are being transformed into outputs. And the third is the feedback control system that provides information about customers' reactions to goods and services so that corrective action can be taken as necessary. You need to understand each control system and how each system works. Let's move on to human resource management. We discussed human resource management or HRM in Module 9. Now, what is HRM all about? Well, HRM involves activities like recruitment and selection, training and development, and conducting performance appraisals. Components of a human resource management system also includes employees' wages and conditions, as well as industrial relations activities. it is important for you to understand how each HRM activity contributes to the firm's efficiency and effectiveness. In Module 10, we discussed the challenges and issues managers face as their organizations go global. Some of the issues managers face involves the clash of different cultures, especially when a manager travels and works in a different country. We learnt about Hofstede's cultural dimensions along which national cultures can be placed. As you can see from the slide, these dimensions include individualism versus collectivism, power distance, having an achievement or masculine versus a nurturing or feminine orientation, uncertainty avoidance, and having a long versus a short-term orientation. You need to understand each of the 5 dimensions. We have now come to the end of this ilecture. I hope this revision ilecture has been useful to you. Please don't be too stressed about the exam. If you've done your readings, if you've listened to all the ilectures, if you've attended all your workshops, you should find the exam questions pretty straightforward. I can assure you, I can guarantee you, there are no trick questions. Finally, your tutors and I want to hear from you about what you think about this revamped unit. So please remember to provide your feedback on Evaluate. For those of you new to Curtin University, well, Evaluate is Curtin's online system for gathering and reporting students' perceptions of their learning experiences. I hope you've had an enjoyable learning experience. It was a pleasure having you as students. I want to thank you for your hard work that you put in throughout the semester. The semester is nearly over. You just have to pass your exams now. If you're planning to study later, in a few hours or tomorrow, and you're feeling a bit tired, feeling a bit demotivated, just remember this. The difference between ordinary and extraordinary is just that little extra. Now, on behalf of everyone in the team, good luck in your exams, enjoy what you do, and make a difference. Goodbye.